Welcome back. I'm Kashi.
My name is Dash.
And we're gonna go on an adventure through the rabbit hole. We are starting off with a long-awaited trope of ours that we wanted to look at. Well, I've already looked at it before. But
How dare you!
it was some time ago, and I think he already has a pretty good idea of it too. But we're gonna kind of dive a little more into it. Knight Templar. We've actually recently watched
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time.
That had a pretty good example of it.
And they kind of had like two sets of Knight Templar. Both the crazy white-robed witch murdering people, whatever, and also the red ones seemed a little Knight Templar too.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I guess those ones were like they're a little more hidden, but yeah, they do follow Knights Templar. Like, okay, I guess they aren't really that hidden. They're just not as outlined as villains as much.
Yeah.
They're more outlined as like rival kind of characters.
Yeah. The picture here is from some comic, some like American comic. I only kill those who oppose me.
You really gotta sound like a villain.
I only kill those who oppose me, and only for the sake of the greater good. I have fixed the world, Bowen. The people of this time worship me.
I don't think Batman's a villain.
Imperious what that's from? What? I
wasn't
trying to be Batman. I just sound like Batman, didn't I? Kind of, a little bit.
I was about to say he's an anti-hero, but I was like, no, he is not.
He's just a hero.
He is not an anti-hero.
He's just a hero.
He looks like he would be an anti-hero.
He does have kind of a look like that.
He looks like he would be one, but he is not an anti-hero.
He has a little bit of anti-hero style, yeah. But he's just a hero.
Yeah, sorry, but Anti-Heroes United does not supply Batman.
No. They probably supply like Catwoman or something. Sometimes the forces of light and goodness get a little bit too hardcore. That one line alone is a pretty good summary. You know.
All right, on to the next trial.
Yeah. In a deadly combination of well-intentioned extremists, right, the fundamentalist, moral guardians, and sometimes Hugh who fights monsters, they get blinded by themselves and their ideals, and this extreme becomes tyrannical sociopathy. Let's kind of mix these different tropes. Many Knights Templar are utterly merciless in dealing with those whom they consider evil, and are prone to consider all crimes to be equal. The lightest offense, maybe even jaywalking, are met with punishments such as full imprisonment, death, brainwashing, or eternal torture. If you're in a story like this, don't jaywalk, or even think about jaywalking.
Yeah,
and may heaven help you if you happen to show any mercy or pity for a wrongdoer. Sometimes even simply being an annoying jerk can earn someone a Knight Templar's wrath, whether they had a hidden heart or not. I assume that is another trope. Hidden heart is like it's like the jerk who it's like who actually is.
Kind of reminds me of that one anime thing I heard about. Was it
Tsundere?
Yeah.
I guess by definition of the Tsundere trope, it is kind of a hidden heart thing. Yes. Like I think you go to it, you might find Tsundere as a subtrope. But yeah, Knights Templar are just this, they're so extreme. Jaywalk, death. Compassion for jaywalker, death.
However, if you are a jerk to a jaywalker, also death.
I think if you're a jerk to the Knight Templar.
Yeah, if you're a jerk to the Knight Templar, definitely. However, now that I think about it, they'll probably be like, yes, beat me to the Jaywalkers. The Jaywalkers are the worst.
Those wicked jaywalkers.
No, I want to see that, like, someone who...
That's
someone who exclusively is against jaywalking.
Well, that's like the villain group is the jaywalkers.
I kind of want to see, like, someone who is exclusively against jaywalking, however, not really against anything else.
There's like the resistance against Knight Templar is just they just call themselves the jaywalker. that's our hero group, not the villain group. That's the heroes.
There's a
new story prompt. Write a story about the jaywalkers.
the infamous criminals around town who only commit like small scale crimes like jaywalking, short-term trespassing.
They're the opposers of the Knights Templar. Trying to reason with one isn't much good either, because many Knights Templar types believe that if you're not with them, you're against them. Which is definitely... They definitely take a villainous role. Like the heroes... The heroes might like work with them for a temporary time, but as soon as their beliefs differ, the Knights Templar are against the heroes, you know? Mm. Invoking actual goodness and decency will have no effect, besides making Knights Templar hate you and demonize your cause as the work of the devil. After all, they are certain that only their cause is noble, and anyone who stands in the way is at best a deluded fool who needs to be corrected, or at worst, an evildoer who needs to die. One of the few ways to actually change the Knight Templar's mind is to kick their ass down to the ground. Right. I mean, you know, especially like think of like shonen. You know, it's like that's how you prove that you're right is by beating them. This is because most are convinced that might makes right, and that since they're good, they only kill the evil. So if you beat them but don't kill them, you're good too. I mean, it makes sense. They won't necessarily join you, but with a little luck, their mild concussion will stop them from fighting for long enough to listen to your side of the story, unless, of course, they conclude they're still inherently superior, and that you only beat them because you called upon the powers of darkness to cheat. Because the Knights Templar will make any excuse to not be wrong. I don't remember exactly what it was in the Wheel of Time. Okay, so I guess they just don't like the idea of the magic at all.
It's kind of, yeah. I don't really completely understand their motives.
I think the one guy who they killed, who is the leader of that one group of the white cloaked guys, I think he particularly kind of gave off the impression that he had just as much a problem with women as the leader of the Red has with men. So I think a lot of the Knights Templarness in Wheel of Time is just sexism.
I never really realized that. But now I see it.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
I'm trying to think of another example of Knights Templar that I know from a story or something. Can you think of anything? Because I should have a lot off the top of my head, but I'm blanking. Knights Templar often have like this obsession with justice. You know, kind of part of the problem is that it's all justice, no mercy. Right? There's none of the balance there. Oh, surely there's some other. Oh, come on, I've seen so many things. Oh my gosh! You've never read One Piece.
Nope.
But One Piece is it is so heavy on the Knights Templars. Because the main characters are pirates, right? And so it's always like pirates, always like explorers really, because not all of them are bad, right? Because they're not like just thieving and killing. Our main heroes are heroes, but they still call themselves a pirate crew. And there's a lot of really cool pirate characters, right? But there's also the military, like the law and order, who are kind of the order side against the chaos of the pirates side, you know. but no, everybody's kind of against each other. But the military is just full of all of these. Just there's a lot of serious Knight Templar characters. It's kind of a big problem because there's a bunch of them, and they're powerful and they're scary. And it's very good examples. And I don't know. It's been a while since I read that. I need to get back to it. But if you want to see a bunch of Knight Templars, go to One Piece. And it's kind of weird because like One Piece is a little bit of has a lot of like weird, goofy stuff. There's a lot of times where you're not supposed to take it very seriously. There's also a lot of times where you really do take it seriously, and I think anime does that really well. Just kind of mixing the non-serious and the serious together. I mean, you've seen Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is not related to Knights Templar, but what I was saying about anime being like a range of how serious taking different moments, In a certain strange way, Light Yagami is a little bit Knight Templar-y. Like he fits a lot of the parts of the trope, just in the sense that like so in Death Note, Light gets his hand on the notebook that you write someone's name and they die, right? And his whole thing is that he's going to wipe the world of criminals. That he's going to make a new pure world and be the god of this new world. So it's very Knight Templar-y thing.
I mean, it's not like any fancy example, but I of course had to think of my mind had to like jump to Splatoon, and like there is like one like it's kind of a generic artificial intelligence that wants to make the world clean kind of thing.
Artificial intelligence. I think there's like a number of movies where the artificial intelligence has a little bit of Knight Templar-ishness. Right? There's a lot of times like the AI are like, for the good of humanity, I will enslave everybody and kill half of them. It's like, but it's for the good of people, surely. I feel like there is some degree of Knights Templar-ishness to some of these AI things. The Knight Templar is often the ultimate incarnation of light is not good, and in series where dark is not evil, you can count on this guy being the villain who believes that the dark characters are evil and must be destroyed, though a villain with powers of darkness can still be this if they believe themselves to be heroic. If a Knight Templar is not the antagonist of the story, expect to see what the hell hero and or not so different remark come into play at least once. If not, then they are a designated hero. If they are still not nominally good, expect them to be a hero antagonist. Okay, so there's a bunch there.
Yeah.
A lot of things that like I want to dive into so we can get a better understanding. So maybe just like open another tab for what the hell hero, not so different remark. Well, I think I got the idea of not so different remark. Right? It's like Joker says that to Batman, Like all the time villains do that. Like, oh, we're not actually so different, but so that's probably what that is. But designated hero and hero antagonist might be better ones to open, so we can get a better idea. After we're done here, there's still just a whole episode about Knights Templar. We just go to those to see how they relate.
Mm-hmm.
Note that not all Knights Templar are explicitly evil from the beginning. Many an anti-hero will start by paying evil unto evil, and when they're not busting butts as are perfectly decent people, they may even overlook small fallacies and be classified on the good guy roster. These guys are often concerned that they run the risk of falling into he who fights monsters and become this trope. So that's an interesting one. Kind of talking about anti-heroes. Because one of the things we know about anti-heroes is that while the good guy can't cold blood murder the villain, the anti-hero can. And perhaps there's a way of that some anti-heroes could be kind of Knights Templar. Knights Templar, as I usually think of it, is actually very antagonistic. But an anti-hero is a little more on the side of good as far as their actions and how they help, even if they're not that great of people all the time. But so I don't have any particular examples in my head of Knights Templar anti-heroes, but it's a cool concept, I think. And it works. Because, as the trope here, paying evil into evil, I think we can pretty well understand by the name what that means. And by the context. So I see how those can actually go together. I just had never thought about it before. Many Knights Templar can be found in the ranks of the corrupt church, the church militant, or the path of inspiration, expected to be screaming that they are holier than thou, and we should all burn the heretic. Even a saintly church can have one of these as a foil for the good shepherds. If the deity behind one of these churches is one of these, on the other hand, you've got problems. Count on an easy road to hell due to them being so impossibly strict that few, if any, of the mortals under them can live up to their standards or morality. Alright, so there's a few things there too. So obviously, Knights Templar, it mentions these things. Obviously, a lot of them will have kind of a paladin-esqueness, a religious aspect, with how strong their beliefs are in this overly strict sense of absolute justice that they have, that cause them to see even the heroes as evil. Holier than thou. That pretty well describes it. I love the, I don't know why I like it so much, but burn the heretic. The idea of the saintly church with the good shepherds, but it still has one of these as a foil, is kind of an interesting idea, and I think I've seen that. Though, off the top of my head, I'm blanking. Like, you get the idea. Is like, it's a good faith and good people, but one of them out there is like, they're the trope I mentioned earlier, the well-intentioned extremist, or that stuff. They're too far.
Kind of like what earlier with the Wheel of Time Aes Sedai, like that with like the red group specifically.
It's kind of
being the, like, I guess it's
it's
a whole group representing that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, it's like the whole group. Aes Sedai is our saintly church, so to speak. Though that might be a little extreme referring to them that way, but. And then the red is the Knights Templar within them. That's a good thought. It's a good catch. That's actually pretty perfect here, despite the fact that I was trying to think of a single character in a smaller group, but no, this is just a group out of a very big group. That makes sense.
Single character in a smaller group is probably more common, but a smaller group like. That is like, it's the only example I can think of.
Like a sub faction of the main faction. I'm gonna be honest, as I go through tropes, Wheel of Time seems more cool. Like it was like watching it just seemed a little, I'm gonna be honest, mediocre. Don't tar and feather me. We didn't read the book. I'm sure the book is better than the show, as my mom has said too. But kind of seeing some of the concepts and how they kind of fit into things. It makes some good examples here, Mm-hmm. And then the other thing it mentions in this paragraph, if the deity behind one of these churches is one of these, all right? So the deity is a Knights Templar. All right, so if you're in like a world like, I don't know, I think Dungeons and Dragons, depending on your story and the world, the story and whatnot, you might have deities as characters, right? Have a lot of involvement, a lot of like hearing them speak to their followers or whatever, or actually meet them in battle, whatever it is, and having the deity itself be Knights Templar, not just like one Knights Templar out of a good group. is very different because that's a much more difficult to oppose force. And the idea that you're going to beat them in a fight and have them change their mind is not going to work. I don't think. Maybe in some story, but it's definitely a much more of a problem. And as it says here, let's see, it can also be a problem for those working, the morals under them. Is that often they, part of the followers, can't quite live up to the standards all the time, and so if you ever seen like a big bad villain, so like one of their minions messes up, it's like, well, I'm a big bad villain, so I'm just gonna kill all of my followers who don't do what I want, right? Basically have the same thing with this situation. The light based antagonists and the dark based antagonists don't seem so far apart anymore. They're all kind of one and the same. But we all get the idea of Knights Templar. Let's take a look at... okay, let's read this last bit here. Not to be confused with Trope Neighbor the Knights Templar. I see. So Trope Neighbor is just one thing. And the Knights Templar goes to useful notes, I guess. So, okay, who varied between fitting and defying this trope. Okay, so I think it's talking about the actual real life Knights Templar. It's saying that's where they got the name from here, right? Who varied between fitting and defying this trope, and were founded with the intention of protecting pilgrims, right? So it's saying that the real Knights Templar weren't always what named the trope. At least that's what I'm gathering from this paragraph and sentence here. Due to the controversial nature of this trope, no real-life examples, please. Yeah. Much like we had with the good colors, evil colors. Basically, any time where, like...
politics?
Well, anything that's... I guess anytime that's bad. Or good. Or, like, bad and good together in a trope, especially, I think. It's like, no real-life examples, because people would absolutely take that to real-life examples. Once again, we can see if anyone followed the rules. Speaking of, you scroll down because that paragraph there wasn't actually part of the screen. But anyway, okay, so
here's the thing you're just saying.
Let's see. Okay, anime and manga. I already know that some pages.
Oh my god!
Oh no! There's got to be a lot. That's how much Knights Templar there is. Okay, let's open some tabs for these.
All right.
Let's just go with video games and anime and manga, all right?
But first, a word from our sponsor.
Do you have a villain that needs to be taken care of, but you can't get your pretty little hero hands dirty? Well, have you ever considered anti-heroes? Because we here at Anti-Heroes United have the perfect solution for you. Anti-heroes can do the dirty work in cold-blooded murder. Got a bad guy who's just too bad to keep around and no questions asked? Well, satisfactory service or your money back. A premium subscription will get you a formerly evil version of yourself as a long-term friend or rival for only $19.99 a month. Call 1-800-555-UP-THE-ANTE or send an email starting with that phone number to the email down below. To hire the perfect antihero to handle your enemies today. Email in the next 20 minutes and your antihero will wipe up to 10 disposable minions for free. The terms villain and disposable may be up to interpretation. Anti-heroes reserve the right to refuse any customer. Side effects may include someone cooler make... This is Anti-Heroes United, but still loners. We do what we want.
So, the trope, what the hell, hero? You think I am a monster, but you're no different from me. You're no different from me, Drake. How many men have you killed? How many? Just today. Lazarevic, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Okay, so I'm still not quite there.
I think it's like
when characters in universe call out one of the heroes for doing something clearly unheroic, if not outright heinous. Okay, I see. So kind of how this relates to Knights Templar is Knights Templar seeing themselves as the heroes, and the heroes being like, not so fast. Or the Knights Templar, and the kind of the part of their not so different thing is like, well, look at you guys. You guys think you're the heroes? Well, what about this? You know, and it can kind of go, and I assume it probably goes like both ways a lot. When this trope kind of fits into Knights Templar, it's probably a two-way use of this to call each other out, with the heroes and the antagonist Knights Templars. Designated hero. Okay, and quote. And then Jack chopped down the beanstalk, adding murder and ecological vandalism to the theft, enticement, and trespass charges already mentioned. But he got away with it and lived happily ever after without so much as a guilty twinge about what he had done. Which proves that you can be excused anything if you're a hero, because no one asks inconvenient questions. Susan Stowe Hewlett's translated version of Jack and the Beanstalk, Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. All right.
I think that
So-
those alone kind of give me an idea of what it is.
That's yeah. So like
someone who is a hero because they're told he's a hero.
yeah. So this kind of contrasts against What the Hell Hero, I think. Where like there's all this questionable stuff, but they don't call it out. You know. So I think these two probably particularly oppose each other. Like if you scroll down, you'd probably say that as like compare with, you know. But yeah, we get this trope and how it kind of relates to the other ones. What the at least, you know, Knights Templar, What the Hell Hero, whatnot. There are definitely a lot of examples. I don't know if Final Fantasy either.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights. Wait, what?
I'm trying to think
in
of
the
what...
Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Well, you can click on that and see. So the puppet. So basically, the idea that the murdered child wanting to take out the murderer, and the ghost of the child trying to take out the murderer is but taking out the not murdered night guards instead.
Yeah.
Is I guess that kind of fits under the definitions of the Knights Templar.
Halo. Do you know anything from
Halo? Not well enough to understand this. Forerunner, Halo 5, I don't know. But it does seem like the examples do seem like they can be less standard. Right? They don't have to be perfect examples to be here. Because I don't think I would account the Five Nights at Freddy's one as a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's more of a derivative example, which would explain why there's so many examples.
Yeah. If they were more picky, then we wouldn't see this.
Well, if they were more picky, there would still probably be some issue. Oh, Shadow the Hedgehog of the Sonic series, depending on who is on his hit list. Let's see, Stiller starts out as one of these and is corrected when Shadow administers a good thrashing, followed by his famous kick to the head. It's truly the best way to make a Knight Templar see sense. so that one I get. I don't get any concept of Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, obviously Shadow the Hedgehog is what comes to mind as one of the examples when I talk about like how the bad guy can be more violent towards the villain. How the anti-hero can be more violent towards the villain than the hero, right? But Knights Templar isn't quite the right thing. I don't think it really makes sense for him. I don't think. Silver, however, does show up in Sonic 06, you know, for a good cause. But he's been tricked into fighting the main character, which also doesn't quite seem the same. But he is, you know, but it does fit the way that, you know, a kick to the head is the best way to fix it.
Doesn't Knuckles also follow the tricked to fighting the main character kind of thing?
Yeah. So I feel like this isn't quite good examples. These seem even more derivative than the Five Nights at Freddy's ones. So we might not find a lot of good examples here, but we can keep looking.
Just wanna see if for some reason Splatoon is on here.
StarCraft. Tales of the Abyss. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. Holy Church, Tears of Terraria. The Hollow, according to the official lore, represents purity taken to its utmost extreme and seeks to purge anything impure and treat it as curing an infestation, attacking a friend, a foe, and a neutral party alike. Interesting. Well, because I see hollow and I think of like emptiness, which makes me think of like darkness, kind of, right? Not light. But I suppose Knights Templar doesn't have to be light. The purity can be empty.
I mean, it is all the Hallow is all fairies and unicorns.
Oh, really?
It's just all killer fairies and unicorns.
Well, all right then. Killer unicorns. That's the subversion. I can see how that would be fit with the trope. All right. Purity taken to the utmost extreme, so you have to purge anything. So the unicorns create you. All right. Anything else you recognize? Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan comes later in the story arc, especially after the 4-year time skip to 854, when Eren has fully transitioned into this in spades. Is this spoilers for the final season? I don't know. Because 4-year time skip, when they were training, it was a 5-year time skip, and it doesn't quite fit this. So I think this has to do with the next season. But he does like so. Before he had this whole kill all the Titans thing. Okay, no, I definitely don't. I don't want to spoil anything from Attack on Titan. I'm just gonna keep scrolling. So as far as the in Bleach, okay, so there was the time when Rukia was arrested and slated for execution after she gave her powers to Ichigo. So I can see how that one kind of lines up with some of the lesser side characters and stuff. But there's not like any I don't know anything beyond that as far as like major Knights Templar stuff. I guess there's probably a variety of smaller characters with different, like the whole extreme strict ideals and whatnot with their own sense of right and justice, but not anything worth diving into, I don't think. But I think we all get the idea. Anyone who's seen all of Bleach could probably think of some of these. Death Note may as well be called Knight Templar the series. Yep. I brought him up before. It's because it's a good example. Light Yagami. His name is Light. So even it's you don't want to talk about Knights Templar having light powers. It's like anyway. Light Yagami, aka Kira, believes himself to be an ally of justice and the god of the new world. He wants to create by using the Death Note to kill off what he believes to be the worst of humanity. So yeah, I mean, Knights Templar the series, that is a good way of putting it, because it really is just that way. Just full in on it. Quite a few other characters at least border on this territory themselves. L is willing to torture people, albeit another Death Note user, to capture Kira. Mikami is eager to kill for justice, right? Misa for love, and Light himself. Let's just say that this series has an extra lubricated slippery slope. Like that. You've heard the term slippery slope?
I have, but I don't know the full meaning of it.
The idea of slippery slope is that, you start going one way, and now you're just sliding, you're slipping, like you just once you start go that direction, it just keeps going, like give an inch, take a mile, that kind of thing. Giving too much leeway in one direction is just going to lead to a lot of problems down the line. You get the idea, right? That this is a slippery slope. Don't like do this
Like, it's
because
really
it'll lead to further mistakes. It'll be a big problem. It'll you know you know. And so I like the way they say extra lubricated, slippery slope. Because I've never like heard it put that way. Kind of like I like when they make like analogies when like they add to the literal part of it. You know what I mean? Anyway. Oh, the Royal Knights organization from the various versions of Digimon are the incarnations of the trope. Oh my gosh. We need to see like that one kind of uncanny 3D animated movie with Durumon. The one with the whole X virus thing. Because Omnimon or Omegamon, I guess, in that one is very Knights Templar. It's a good example. We should totally see it because that I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier because it's such a very in my mind just example of Knights Templarness. We definitely got to see it. Speaking of which, we have to see a number of Digimon movies. But anyway, Lucemon is a prime example. I guess kind of. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. There's kind of a, as far as kind of another slippery slope of the what was the derivative slippery slope of derivative examples is that a lot of just normal villains can be put under examples of Knights Templar just because they think they're right, but like that's normal for a villain to think they're right in some way. Though I suppose, but like but some will lean more towards greater good, while others will be like, I'm doing right by myself, and that's all that matters. So it does kind of vary, but still, you see what I'm saying. 12th from Future Diary is definitely this. Man, I don't remember who the 12th was. I'll have to look back at that. But I just need to make sure that they absolutely must have One Piece on here. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has... I'm not at the 6th part yet. Alright, let's keep scrolling. Naruto has a few villains who count as this trope rather than well-intentioned extremists. Oh, Danzo. Oh, yeah, he's definitely Knights Templar. I didn't even remember him. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, nope, fair enough. I was like, I was trying to think of like Bleach, Naruto, and whatnot when I thought of One Piece, and like, oh no, they don't have Knights Templar. But no, this one character, Naruto, is definitely Knights Templar. So, all right. That's the thing about Knights Templar is that often it'll be like part of like the organization that is the good side, the heroes and whatnot. Someone part of that overall large group could very easily be Knights Templar. In particular, in the case where like the good side, quote unquote, is like a whole like nation. There's a lot of room for a lot of character, a lot of like moving parts within like the organization where they can easily be Knights Templars, where some of them are going to extreme. In One Piece, since the heroes are pirates, many of the marine officers are Knights Templar. The most notable of whom is probably... should I click this? Spoiler alert! Admiral Akainu. The very first thing we see him do is blow up a civilian ship simply because they might have one of the archaeologists the world government wanted to wipe out aboard. They didn't. Wow. Now you have a good example of the Knights Templarness of the One Piece characters. Some of the Marines, such as Akainu and Lucy, are downright dogmatic in their devotion to the concept of absolute justice and give the impression of a massive, sprawling organization comprised almost entirely of Knights Templar. This is somewhat tempered by the presence of more reasonable characters like Smoker, Garp, Kobe, and Okiji. I don't know if I want to keep looking at these, but I'm pretty sure Akainu is... Okay, so I don't think there's too much spoilers for me here. We get the idea. I don't remember. There's a lot of names here. I don't remember which one is the lava guy that kills a certain character. It's really sad. But there's so much Knights Templar awfulness among the military in One Piece. But yeah, other than that, I think we've gone through the examples that we need to hit. Any final thoughts, Corin?
Don't be Knights Templar.
Don't be Knights Templar. The takeaway of this episode is life lesson. Don't be a Knights Templar. Because obviously that's a problem with a lot of real life people. Well, maybe it is. But don't be a Knights Templar. If there's a Knights Templar around, don't be a jaywalker. When I said takeaway, like finishing thoughts, I didn't necessarily mean there had to be like a life lesson or anything.
Now every episode of Through the Rabbit Hole has to have a moral.
There has to be a moral to the story. That should be another trope we should look at. Moral to the story kind of thing. I don't know what it's called.
We already have one for next time.
Well, next time we might potentially have a chosen topic, possibly slightly researched chosen topic, I don't know, as chosen by a guest. We'll see if we have a guest. It's been a little bit of interest.
Sure. If not, if we aren't,
but I've been opening up to friends of ours, people we have streamed with. But for now, man, I feel like I want to talk more about like the story writing of Knights Templar, like advice on how to write it or something. I mean, pretty good summary is just absolute justice and no mercy, where they can at some times be, at least at first, on the same side of the heroes even. But it doesn't stay that way because there's balance. There's a need for balance in all things. Now, the proper balance doesn't always 50-50. But between chaos and order and all these different things, there needs to be balance. And that's one of the problems with the Knights Templar, is that they are so utterly absorbed in their own perception of justice, which might not even be justice. For example, death penalty for jaywalking is not justice. But you get the idea. And
just one idea like I had for like putting into a story is it's like when you brought up advice for writing in a story, I thought about like what kind of stuff do I have in my story, and I couldn't really think of it. However, I do have kind of something I want to do where there are like two rivaling factions. One of them is a like more aggressive and violent, meaning all that, and the other one on the surface isn't as bad. However, their leader is like wants to end the entire human race and such.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure I've got some in my stories too, but I don't think I have any particular off the top of my head, easy to break down examples of Knights Templar. But one a little bit kind of unrelated but also derivative idea that just occurred to me is another thing you can do in a story would be a reverse. That is to say that you could have like heroes who are overly merciful and actually have to learn to be less of that. Like you could have a lesson of like the opposite misbalance, where like, which is something that happens, but usually in like often like darker stories where like, oh well you thought you were being a good guy and letting this villain go, but now they hurt more people, you know.
Yeah, there's a video game I recently played.
Which is why you need that to hear us.
There's a video game I recently played where the second chapter, like it's being released in chapters, and the second chapter got recently released. And
I wonder what this game is. Okay, keep going.
But, yeah, Deltarune. I already told you about it. I can't. I'll just refer to that from now on.
I know you're probably trying to avoid spoilers, but I think some people can tell.
It's just like it kind of like when chapter 1 came out, this character is like they were very clear, all innocent, just the innocent, most lovable character at all, and it's just find it kind of funny that during the second chapter, they go off on the adventure with the reformed but not tamed character, and the reformed but not tamed character, while they're off on their adventure, teaches them sarcasm.
That's funny. Okay.
Like they have a little thing where like one of them teaches the other sarcasm, while the innocent one teaches the other how to use healing spells.
Oh, nice. So I just had an idea before we go. A new writing prompt, all right? There's already the writing prompt for the Jaywalkers as the rebel organization, whatever. That one remains as well, but new writing prompt. Overcorrections. Okay? The idea is you have a hero who is overly merciful, sparing all their enemies to the point that it causes problems where those enemies end up hurting more people. And they realize this issue and overcorrect and go from this kind of person to a Knights Templar. That is the writing prompt of this episode.
I kind of imagine that they go from that into being an anti-hero. But...
Right. That's kind of something that can kind of happen is that like after tragedy, becoming an anti-hero. Anti-heroes usually have tragic backstories. But that definitely has to wrap it up because it has been a very, very long episode. I'll definitely have to take a lot of editing down. And I don't have a lot of time to do that. Especially since I'm kind of sick. But thank you very much for watching. I'm Kashi. You're awesome. And until next time, I will see you later, Crocodile.
In a while, alligator.